Hi there. Welcome to Bourbon Turntable. We are the show that blends the love of music with the love of whiskey. With me tonight, as always, is my very, very good friend, Drew Crawley. What's up, Drew?
Howdy, sir. I'm good. I am in full recovery mode from a wonderful weekend on the road, hanging with friends, did a little bit of music work, hanging with the dog. So today has been about couch napping and catching up on trashy reality TV. It's been a good day.
Well, it's about to get better because we are drinking cocktails with the Ewaldz. And if you've been under a rock and haven't heard, we've got a very big announcement, special announcement for Adina. So we'll get into that in just a minute. But before we get into the rest of the show, we want to tell you about the Bar Cart Co-op. Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends who produce content for the whiskey enthusiast. Distillers Talk. Alan Bishop and Christy Atkinson every week, usually comes out around Thursday or Friday. Alan and Christy are talking with distillers from across the nation and around the world about everything you can possibly think of in terms of distillation. If you want to geek out on that, that's the place to do it. Unless you want to geek out a little bit deeper and go to One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute. If you're a distiller in your backyard, in your basement, or maybe that's a real job, Alan Bishop will take your questions, anything you want to ask him, and he'll post YouTube video responses to those questions. Alan also, in his spare time, which I don't know how he has any, has another show called If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. In the show, they tap into, well, they talk about ghosts. They talk about supernatural. They talk about UFOs. They talk about a little bit of everything that's kind of on the fringe. My Whiskey Den, speaking of on the fringe, with Pat and Mike and Mitch, every Monday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. They have great guests. It's always a fun time in the chat. Tune in live Monday night, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central. My Whiskey Den, where craft whiskey is king. And the newest member of Bar Cart Co-op is David Levine and his Whiskey in My Wedding Ring podcast. David's also a great writer. He just came out with his first barrel pick, which was a Jack Daniel's barrel proof rye. And I managed to secure a bottle of that, and it's quite tasty. Speaking of tasty,
don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit that bell notification to find out when new episodes are coming out, which do come out every single Wednesday on all of the services: Spotify, Apple Music, Google, maybe Amazon, definitely YouTube. And always hit that like button, but hit it an odd number of times, so then that way it stays as a like.
Thanks, Mike. You're just delicious. We appreciate it. So Dave and Adina, welcome back to Bourbon Turntable.
Hello.
So we want to get into the whole cocktail thing, but we're going to slum it for just a minute with Drew's cocktail and my cocktail. The topic is fall cocktails, so we're trying to do that. So Drew and I whipped something up here, and then we'll hand it over to the true artist in the group. So Drew, let's start with you. What do you have there, sir?
Sure. So I did a fall take on a Manhattan. Manhattan is my go-to cocktail most of the time of the year, but especially in the fall. So what I did is an ounce and a half of the minor case rye from Limestone Brants, a half ounce of Amaro de Nino, a tablespoon of homemade apple butter, and then 2 dashes of bitters, and then just a little bit of the juice from the bourbon soaked cherries. I use the Woodford Reserve ones, if that matters. So the apple butter comes through, heavy cinnamon, just really, really nice fall cocktail. I would recommend it. It's pretty good bonfire sipping. I might have done that a little bit last night, or a lot of that last night. So I was going for a maple thing initially and just couldn't quite find the balance of flavors. The maple was too strong. So the apple butter was plan B, but I'm pleased with how it turned out. So cheers. That's what I'll be sipping on.
Cheers.
Very nice.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah, it sounds a lot better when you just kind of it's a Manhattan with apple butter, blah blah blah. You didn't really get into it. You didn't really sell it when you're telling me about it before the show. I like that. I like that.
I gotta
Sounds really
save some
cool.
of the juice for the on
All right.
stage part of the evening.
All right, there you go. All right, so I did what I call an old Clifty fashioned, or a Clifty old fashioned. I used Old Clifty apple brandy, 2 ounces of that, about 3/4 of an ounce of brown sugar, pecan cayenne simple syrup, some cherry bitters. I've got a little cherry in here, and the requisite orange peel, and cheers. Good fall drink.
Cheers.
Nice.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, I like how you slip the sweet and the heat in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come get me some of that simple syrup.
It's really good. It's not complex, okay, and we've actually made cocktails together for quite a while, or we used to anyway, and mine were always stupidly simple. So
but delicious.
But delicious. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, cheers to the Ewaldz.
Cheers, friends.
Cheers.
Cheers to Adina. Okay, so we want to brag on you first. There was this little Bourbon Women Cocktail Contest, and you were in it.
Yes.
And what happened?
Well, I won both the amateur division and the People's Choice Award. So
Okay.
It was quite a surprise. I thought my cocktail was a little bit on the different side, but they seemed to like it.
We can say so.
Apparently
She said,
they did.
I won them all. You smoked everybody. You came in there and cleaned house. Come on, Adina. If you're not going to brag on you, we're going to.
Okay.
She is very humble, very humble.
Right.
There was people coming to the table saying, hey, so-and-so said, I got to try this. Then another person, hey, so-and-so,
Yeah.
I've got to try it.
And I got to say, there were some wonderful cocktails from the others.
Oh
too.
yeah, it was hard competition.
Yeah.
There was a stiff competition, a lot of good ones to beat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some really good loser cocktails too. So look, I've been beat by Adina so many different times in cocktail contests over the years. She's one of the most gracious winners that you'll ever see, but she's also fiercely competitive. Okay, she doesn't like to lose, and she doesn't very often. But she's very gracious in her victory. So
I do believe losing to Mr. Kevin Rose a couple times.
Oh yes.
Yes.
In fact, for the crown at one point.
Yeah.
I won the ABV cocktail contest one year, which was a gross miscarriage of justice.
It was a travesty.
It really was. It really, really was. I mean,
it was rough around here for a while. Let me tell you.
I had not won any of the months. I only got into the finals because I was like one of the judges' wild card picks. Okay, and again, it was a gross miscarriage of justice, but I'll take
that
it.
Cocktail was spectacular.
You had a good cocktail.
Well, but we're very, very proud of you. Proud of what you've done, and Dave, I know you're a big part of it too. You're not just a pretty face.
Yeah, she's referring to me as her manservant, so I'm just going to change my name to Cato.
That works.
Cato, go fetch some ice, Cato.
I'm going to ask you to do that.
Oh, all right. But we're going to talk about some fall cocktails, and you've got one that you just kind of whipped up out of thin air today.
Well, it wasn't quite that simple. I'd been thinking about it for probably a month or so, and I just hadn't really gotten too far with it with the other things going on. But I know this is Bourbon Turntable, but I've got a tequila mezcal blend in this. So I hope that's okay.
That is very okay.
Absolutely.
It has apple cider though,
So I was
fall.
sitting around this morning thinking, wonder what I should call it. I said, it's got a lot of apple in it. So I said, I wanted to call it something about Newton. And I'm like, that just doesn't ring a bell. So I start just Google Newton and the name, one of the paragraph titles in the Wikipedia entry said the Apple incident. And that was just
Nice.
perfect.
That is
Love
perfect.
it.
So I'm going to be going back and forth here for a minute, just getting this mixed up.
Okay.
But Dave, my manservant, would you like to fill some ice in here and in the other part of the
Sure.
shaker?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to start with some Reposado tequila. And that will be, I suppose I have to share this cocktail, so I better make a double.
Bummer.
Dave would like a cocktail. Too.
Dave, would you like a cocktail?
Yes.
So I'm going to
please.
put in 3 ounces of the tequila, and I will change my orientation here. And now I really like that's not good.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to change my orientation here. I really like mezcal, so recipe I said put like a half ounce, but I like a little more.
More mezcal can't hurt.
Well, you can't have an apple incident unless you've got plenty of booze.
Plenty
in
of
it.
mezcal.
Exactly. Now, you said it was a Reposado tequila. What tequila did you use? Sorry, I'm being nosy. Don't mean to interrupt your flow.
I had
You can hold it up here.
I had some Hornitos.
Okay.
Awesome.
Was it Añejo?
Yeah. No, it's a Reposado.
Oh, that was Reposado.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I've got some Whiskey Acres Nocino.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I'm not Italian.
Walnut liqueur.
Walnut liqueur, yes.
Put a little bit of that in. Half
So
ounce.
we've got smoky, we've got bitter, we've got the tequila thing going on. I'm liking where this is headed.
Then, let's see. Oh, how about a little lemon juice? I pre-squeeze the lemons. And I want just a little bit to give it some tartness.
Yep.
One of my magic components is I made some apple cider molasses.
Ooh.
And to do that, you just take some like good apple cider, like you'd get at the farmer's market or a local orchard or something, and just slowly heat it down until it's pretty thick and it gives you all the sweetness. You'll put, I think we are running out of
Last cocktail.
just enough for this.
Great how that works out.
Yep.
That has some viscosity to it.
Yes, it
Oh
does.
yeah.
Mhm.
Then I got a little bit of apple cider, and this is from our favorite local orchard.
100% cider, no sugar,
Yep.
no additives.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yep.
I always like when we can use that type of ingredient.
You need ice in a shaker, right?
Yes.
All right. We're going to do it.
Then got some of the Old Forester smoked cinnamon bitters.
All
Oh,
right.
nice.
Those are great.
Yeah.
I might be a little bit of a homer on those, but I'm a fan.
Yeah. I'm going to put a couple dashes of those in. Then a couple dashes of the Angostura. And really with this cocktail, the only thing that takes any advanced prep is the apple cider molasses. And I usually just make a batch of that, at the beginning of the season. And I guess I'll have to make another batch. So let's see how this works. Shaking it up here. Dave, you might want to.
Want me to shake it?
You might want to mute it while we shake.
Okay, mute it. I'll shake.
Okay.
Dave's really giving it the business here.
That's right. I also appreciate the consideration for us and our listeners that we didn't have to listen to that directly into earbuds.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, well, shaking can get kind
it
of
can get a little.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Then
It's a beautiful sound, just not when it's directly injected into your ears. It usually means something's good is coming.
Yes, you're almost there.
Okay, and then I'm going to do this a little differently. I've got a cinnamon stick
Mm-hmm.
in here, and I am going to flame it.
All right.
Fire.
I was going to say, mezcal and fire on the show. This might be a first.
This is
You guys
good.
are breaking all kinds of
That's right. Yep.
things for us. I like it.
So I'm just going to take the. Now I should have had this out of here, but we're.
You can invert it.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Just gonna singe the top of the cinnamon stick a little.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't quite enough fire to get it really smoky, but
Let's go.
there we go. And then put that in the drink. And I won't do mine again. I'll just let it go. And this is the apple incident. Cheers.
Cheers. y'all.
Cheers.
That sounds fantastic.
It is yummy.
All right.
Got the
So,
apple, the smokiness of the mezcal, the tequila note,
yep.
the nochino, the walnut just brings it right over the
Gives it-
Mm-hmm.
finish line.
I love that combination of the walnut and the apple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to try that for sure.
Good combos.
I like it. I like it a lot. That's a great idea. It pulls in a lot of different good flavor directions. So now, when it comes to bitters, is there a favorite direction that you like to go with that, or is it just depends on what you're feeling?
It depends on what I'm feeling.
Mhm.
The first time I tried this morning, I put in black walnut bitters instead of the smoked cinnamon.
Mhm.
And it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
But I think the smoked cinnamon just gave it just another layer.
Well, and then you didn't have the nochino in there at first, and I said, "Hey, you need some of that nochino in
Yep.
there." And that gets a little bit more of a bitter note as well.
Mhm.
But with that said, I think Angostura is in a lot of stuff that we do.
Oh yeah.
Angostura is kind of universal bitters. It works in a lot of things.
Oftentimes I'll be trying out different bitters, and I'll just take a taste of the cocktail and a little dab of the bitters on my finger, and it's just like, nope, the Angostura works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Times out of 10, the Angostura just kind of works for.
But I love playing around
Lot.
with the other bitters too.
So, when you're looking at coming up with something like the Apple incident,
Mhm.
what are the things that inspire you to create something basically out of the blue?
I think it was one night we were at one of our favorite bars in town. I'm talking to the bartender, and we were talking about their cocktail menu. And he's like, "Yeah, I got to get some fall cocktails going on." And I think I just said something about, "How about mezcal and apple?"
Hmm.
And he's like, "Yeah," he says, "I can never get the apple to come through." So actually, the apple cider molasses really pulled that apple flavor through.
Mm.
I mean, the little bit of cider isn't going to do much with the
Right.
mezcal, but that apple cider molasses is just full of flavor.
Right.
Well, if you're going with just apple cider, then you're not going to have the consistency or the consistency of that you're getting from that molasses, and you're not going to get that that smoky richness that you can get out of that molasses too,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Yep. Is there a specific varietal of apple that's near you guys up there in Illinois that you feel like is beneficial to the cocktail, or do you feel like it's regional, would work with whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say whatever you like to drink as far as the cider wise,
Yeah.
Mhm.
use that.
Great.
This cider here is kind of tart, not overly sweet, but it does have some sweetness for this cocktail.
Yeah, and it's
Not super
where'd it
sweet.
go?
Nicely.
It's right here. Yeah, it's pretty thick. I mean, it's in a milky plastic, but
Mm-hmm.
it's got some good heft to it.
And again,
Excellent.
not super sweet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So again, the topic that we threw out was fall cocktails, and if you don't already follow Dave and Adina on Instagram, you need to do that, because there's a steady supply of cocktails that they put out there, and it's not, the how to make a Manhattan or how to make an old fashioned like Drew and I are fooling around with tonight. These are very creative, and in some cases somewhat complex creations, and the way they present them is very appealing. Well, you can see, I mean, it's a great photo there, and you'll see some of the other photos as we go through it. But they lay the whole recipe out there. If there's, a simple syrup or something else that is part of the cocktail, they tell you how to make that as well. So follow them on social media. It's you'll really enjoy it, even if you're not a cocktail person yourself. You don't make a lot of cocktails. The creativity that you see there, you'll have to appreciate that. So and we'll go over this again at the end of the show, but tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
Best place to find me is on Instagram, and my handle is Adina Ewaldz. I'll have Dave put that up on our names here before we get
Just
out of here.
Adina Ewaldz. So that on hers, and mine is Full Bean Group, FullBeangroup.
Excellent. Yeah, I'll just second what Kevin said, that you're both great follows, and I feel like I've got all kinds of inspiration out of it. So
Appreciate that.
yeah.
Dave does a thing typically on Friday nights. He'll come home from work and he'll have some cocktail in mind that he's found a recipe for and looked up the history of. So a lot of times we'll do that on Fridays. The last few weeks have not been conducive to that.
A little traveling going on, but
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a few others that you guys are going to share with everybody. And while we're sipping on what we've got, here's one called Moon Dance.
That was an interesting one. That was one that was for the cocktail contest that we talked about.
Yep.
And there were a couple of different things in the required ingredients, I believe, was cucumber and ginger.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, well, what's the weirdest thing I can do with this? So I took some from our favorite apple orchard where the cider comes from. I took the donuts, crushed them up, and threw them in some Buffalo Trace. Let them sit for a few days, and it's kind of a combination of a fat wash and spice wash and
infusion and
it was the
all kinds
infusion of
things
the apple
going on.
cider donuts.
Right.
Let them sit there for a while and then strain them out, and had some very interesting tasting Buffalo Trace. And I had to use cucumber, so I made a cucumber and ginger syrup for that. And then added a little apple brandy and the the lemon, of course, and the allspice jam. And there was the pumpkin puree. Now, we often think about, everybody's all over the pumpkin spice stuff, but it can be delicious. So, yeah, there was the pumpkin puree. And when we were doing that in the cocktail contest, I was naming most of my drinks after songs.
Well, we were going back and forth with Mr. Rose here.
Yeah.
Kevin would after a song, I would, you would, and we were having fun riffing on the song thing. And this was being in the fall and a fall cocktail that you chose Moondance by Van Morrison.
I was
Yeah.
Great fall song, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How did the cucumber? Because I don't remember if I did this cocktail that month's cocktail contest. What did you use? What did the cucumber do for the cocktail?
Well, it gave it a little bit of brightness,
Okay.
almost like a lemon would.
Yeah.
But not quite as much acidity.
Little bitty vegetal note, maybe a little bit, but a little bright, brightness, juiciness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you used cucumber in anything else since
No.
Bloody Mary, maybe.
Yeah, Bloody Marys, but
yeah. Okay.
But no, and I would definitely use it again.
Yeah.
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 That's fascinating. I just wouldn't think of cucumber as being a component of that. But when you think about, apple, pumpkin, allspice, cinnamon donuts, that brightness that you spoke to, I feel like it's probably necessary. So I like that. I think it adds a unique kind of a balance idea into it.
Cucumber and apple kind of go together.
Yeah.
You don't think about that, but they do.
Yeah. So with the cocktail contest through Bourbon Women, what were there parameters that they set up for that? Because with the cocktail contest that we've talked about, there were always required ingredients. So you had something that you had to kind of build around, and then we often would throw in something else, either to anchor to a song title or something of that nature.
Right.
So was there anything like that with the Bourbon Women?
Yes, it was sponsored by Beam Suntory, so we had to use. They gave us quite a large list of Beam Suntory products to use.
Okay.
And then you could only use 4 other ingredients.
Okay.
Now, you could make your simple syrup and put a whole bunch of ingredients in that, and it was one ingredient because you were just adding the simple syrup.
Right.
So that's nice to give you a little leeway with that. The garnishes didn't count. I didn't use bitters in it, but I don't think the bitters count.
Okay.
So, I mean, there is some leeway as far as that goes.
They did say no weird ingredients, make it something that people can get.
That people can recreate if they want.
No weird liqueurs that are, like don't use a Meyer pecan because it only, it's only very limited or, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. But that was about the only. Oh, and it could not be pink. That was the other.
Not your pink drink.
Not a pink.
Not a girly drink.
Right.
Yes. Not your pink drink. Yeah, I love it. That's cool.
Emphatically, it better not be pink.
Right.
If it's pink.
Yeah. And so what Beam Suntory product did you use?
I ended up using Maker's 46.
Mm-hmm.
I tried a couple other products first, and it just didn't work right in that cocktail. But the Maker's 46 was a good blend.
Interesting.
Yeah, Maker's had the sweetness that it needed.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little bit of sweet component that played off the peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm. All right, so Dave, we've got a couple from you here. I mean, Adina gets all the attention as she should, but you're a quite creative cocktail artisan your own self. So you've got this one. I like it. Good fall theme to this too.
Yeah, and you know, so I give our daughters a hard time about the PSLs. You know, so they get all excited. Oh, PSLs are out, and you know, it's like, oh man, don't want to hear about the PSLs. But okay, let's do a boozy PSL. So I did this one. I love coffee. I love coffee drinks, and
bourbon
and did basically a bourbony PSL.
Yes.
So I used Peerless Double Oak, which has a richness and recently unavailable. Now it's just back out this week. So Peerless Double Oak gave it a nice mouthfeel and just richness. Coffee liqueur, I use some Adina made, but Mr. Black is readily available and it's really good. So Mr. Black, maple pumpkin spice syrup. So that's just maple syrup and a little bit of pumpkin pie spice mix.
And pumpkin.
Yeah, pumpkin puree.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, canned pumpkin puree. You can use that. Then I use Stave and Bean coffee. I love the Stave and Bean coffee. So it was a good Mai Tai blend that had a real cool bourbony note to it itself. And then, of course, you got to top it with whipped cream and a dash of pumpkin spice.
Yeah, it's very creative. Very creative.
Love it.
Yeah. Bourbony PSL for breakfast.
I like the way that you do breakfast, sir. Yeah.
Weekends only, not weekdays.
Believe it was pretty chilly that day too.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sure you've sent it to John, but I that seems like it would be right up his alley. Mr. John Waddell would love that.
On with that one.
Yep.
Okay. He gets to double dip in his endeavors there.
Yeah. That's kind of what we were going for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Get a double hit there.
Yeah.
And then you had one other that you sent me, Dave. I didn't have a picture of the cocktail, so I had to dig into the archives and find this from. Gosh, when was that? Was that last year?
Yeah, this one had a lot going on. So I used the Lower Time Cocard Brandy, which is basically a cognac. Wisconsin basically made cognac. Buzzard's Roost, the barrel proof rye, some Jägermeister, and Jägermeister does work well in cocktails, folks. Ramazzotti is an Italian Amaro. It's a very good, affordable Italian Amaro, and it works great.
Nice bittering.
Then toasted walnut orgeat. So orgeat is made from nuts. It's time consuming to make it. The link is there. Kevin's got the link there to make it. You can buy it. You can buy orgeat in your local liquor store, and then also walnut bitters, and then orange and lemon garnish. Delicious.
Oh yeah,
love it.
And
that's very cool.
Boozy. There's a lot of booze in there, so you know, with Brandy and the Buzzard's Roost, you might fall off of Kevin's deck. Drink it.
Well, we would drink this on the patio, so that's you would just maybe fall out of the chair. So
you have elevation issues drinking this, though.
Safety first. Yeah, safety first.
But now that didn't have any apple or pumpkin or pumpkin spice in it, but it still rings out to me as a fall cocktail with the brandy, rye, and the Jägermeister, and the walnut.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I agree. That brandy and the barrel proof rye both to me have kind of a fall feel. That's obviously very subjective, but and then Jägermeister, you can put Jägermeister in about anything, anytime. So as Dave knows, so.
Yeah, Jaeger, not just for shooting back at college.
Okay, so I was going to bring that up. I'm intrigued by the use of Jaeger. That was something that I lost in my world about sophomore year of college. I can still smell it, and probably coming back up. But how would you recommend for somebody that's not a lover of Jaeger, but I'm intrigued by it? What are some of the other things that you would recommend pairing it with or combining it with in a cocktail?
Jaeger goes with a few things. I mean, chocolatey cocktail. Jaeger and chocolate is a natural. because it's got kind of the minty note and
And brandy.
brandy.
I like it with rye
Mhm.
as a base.
Okay.
I think that's a good. So I think having that split spirit in that one,
Hmm.
the Jägermeister.
Okay.
Think of Jaeger as it's an Alpine Amaro. You know,
Okay.
it's an Alpine Amaro. It's got those Alpine notes to it. It's just too many people have had those experiences.
Yeah, I was gonna say I had a buddy that
Including
lived down the hall
myself,
from me.
unfortunately, but you know.
Yeah. Oh, but a guy that lived on my hall had one of those chilled Jaeger machines that we abused far too often sophomore year. So I haven't touched it in a while, but that one intrigues me. I might have to return to my roots and my wicked ways. Go back.
Yeah.
No, there's some. No, you can use in lots of different cocktails.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it works.
It does.
I don't know that I'd want to shoot it just
No,
No, not
as it
anymore.
is. Yeah.
No.
I don't shoot anything anymore.
Even Malort, you sip Malort. So,
Yeah.
you know, he's crazy.
You're built
Yeah.
different, Adina. You're built different.
Yes, she is.
So speaking of Malort,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, geez.
Okay, now this is going to take a really dark turn now. Do you use Malort in cocktails at all?
I have.
Once.
No, I have a couple
Oh,
times.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a bittering agent.
Very bittering.
Very bittering agent.
All the bitter.
Yeah.
It goes suspiciously well with grapefruit.
Yeah.
Malort and grapefruit pair well for some weird, odd reason they do.
Mhm.
Cocktail with grapefruit and Malort, and you need a lot of other stuff like
Yeah.
some sweet. You need sweetness to offset all that
Yeah.
bitter. But
Interesting.
yeah,
Now it just got me thinking of something for Christmas.
no. No Malort.
Malort.
We're not buying any more Malort.
Yeah. Yes. Merry Malort Christmas. I don't know.
Malort.
Well, we
Yeah.
were at our favorite dive bar in Chicago a couple months ago, and we walked in and they said, we met some friends there, and she's like, "Well, what are you going to have?" And I said, "I'm going to have a shot of Malort." She says, "Do you want the candy cane infused?" And I said,
The what?
and I said, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, we infused it with candy canes this time." I said, "Heck yeah!" Try that.
All right.
It was
It was
drinkable.
drinkable.
Yes.
That it's in the drinkable category.
Yeah.
That's about it.
For Malort.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's the first time I've ever heard someone refer to Malort as drinkable. So props to your favorite dive bar in Chicago. Oh goodness.
I like that. That's interesting. So
It can be used in cocktails very carefully.
Yeah.
very carefully.
Yeah.
Very carefully. Well, these are some fantastic fall cocktails. We'll post when the show's released. We'll post some of these in the comments on Facebook. So we had the Apple Incident, which is the new one. The Moon Dance. It's one with the cucumber and the donut washed bourbon. My goodness. Wait, Dave, have you had her tested?
Yeah.
She's dangerous. Then it's a great PSL Charlie Brown. That's a fun one and a great fall idea as well. And then the Falling Off the Deck at Bushwood, which doesn't have the overt fall themes of apple or pumpkin or anything, but definitely some fall elements in there too. So cool.
And the name is Falling.
Yeah, see, I didn't even get that. There you go. Wow.
Okay. Well then.
Far too clever for me. But speaking of fall, we're going to talk about some music that has a fall feel, which is obviously very subjective and could be based on just a personal experience of a song during a certain time of year that, you may have, really been listening to the Beach Boys at Thanksgiving one year, and that you associate good vibrations with the fall. I don't know. But we'll just kind of go around the horn here a few times and see what people come up with. Adina, we'll start with you. Any fall feel music for you?
Well, the big one has to be Moon Dance by Van Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, probably most Van Morrison. I think it's the kind of richness of his voice and kind of lyrical quality to the lyrics. And so that would be probably my big autumn.
Yeah. And
Well,
I think
you also said September by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
got to.
Come on.
That's a given, right?
That's an earworm that just kind of, it's there. You think about it.
yes.
Get that out of your head, right?
Yes.
And then I
Yeah.
think we've talked about this one before too. Back, it was years ago, Keith Jarrett was the pianist that did a concert in Cologne, Germany at some big venue there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this was a 2 LP packet in
Double album.
Yeah, it was a double album of his live performance. When he went in there to play, the piano was not tuned correctly, so he ad-libbed the whole thing, and it is fascinating, and it's just, it takes you on like this little musical journey. It's all instrumental, but it kind of takes you on this journey. And I think when I first heard it, it was in the fall. And I kept playing it over and over and stuff. It's quite interesting.
Yeah. Say the name of that again was what?
The artist's name is Keith Jarrett.
Oh, yeah.
Jarrett. I think it's 2 T's at the end.
Yeah, I think it's 2 T's.
Yeah.
And it was the Köln concert.
Koln, Cologne, Germany. It might have been at the big church in Cologne. The cathedral, maybe. I'm not sure, but think, if you ever listen to that, think about him playing the whole concert with the out-of-tune piano and adapting and just going with it, and it's beautiful.
That's really cool.
As a musician, Drew can appreciate that one. It's just
I literally just looked it up to add to my list of things to listen to tomorrow. So very excited about that. That's cool.
Well, Drew, what do you have? Any? Give us one or two here.
I've got a compare and contrast. So fall is always a thing about being really mad because it's about to get cold, and I'm sad about that. And then very romantic. So I'll give you my two. One is the album Halloween by Rustin Kelly. I have to give my Rustin plug like once a month on these shows, but some great songs on that. It was in the middle of like addiction issues with him, and it's just something that I resonate with. But the song Hurricane in My Head, the song Poison, the song Black Magic, very much it reminds me of that fall feeling and just kind of get me back to that. To sweeten it up a little bit, I said in our text message, I think I gave the artist, but the specific album is Harry Connick Jr.'s album, the soundtrack to When Harry Met Sally. It's so good. That's one of my favorite rom-coms. I'm not a huge rom-com guy, but I'm not above them, especially in the fall. It's just so good. Michael Bublé can kick rocks. Harry Connick Jr. is the king of the modern crooners.
Oh, yeah.
And that record in particular just reminds me of fall so much. I listen to it probably twice a year, and it's usually somewhere around the 1st of October. So
Nice.
Oh, that's good. I like that. There are a couple of albums that I listen to. Well, there are a few albums that I listen to every fall, but one is Quadrophenia by The Who, which actually turns 50 on October 19th.
Wow.
Crazy.
So yeah, and so I really enjoy that one. Get into that a lot. That's maybe my favorite album of all time. But to me, it always felt like fall, and I've got the album right here. It kind of looks like fall, just in the black and white photo. So that's one of them. And then another is U2 Unforgettable Fire, which came out in as the day we're recording this is October 1st. It came out today in 1984. Or excuse me, 1989. No, 84. 84, yeah.
Very cool.
So, yeah. So that's... And that one always felt like fall to me because when I was a freshman in college, which would have been the fall of 85, I took a music theory class, and it was in the fall quarter. We had quarters back in that day. And it was in the building furthest from my dorm. And so as the quarter wore on, as the final project for the class was you had to write an essay about an album. It could be any album that you wanted. You could take any position you wanted on it, but you just had to pick one. And that's what I picked. And as the quarter wore on and you're getting into late October and you're getting into November, it started to get cold. And so I remember just being bundled up, walking up that long walk across campus to go to that class, thinking of that album. So those are two of mine.
He's talking about the cold weather in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I went to college in Wisconsin.
Yes. We all make choices.
Yeah.
We all make choices. What else do you guys have, Dave and Adina?
Well, this one haunts me and it disturbs me. And it's like, it's the pain of the cold coming, like Drew talked about. You're kind of bummed about it. It's like, so Mamas and the Papas.
All the leaves are brown.
California Dreaming. Yeah.
In the skies.
California Dreaming.
That song flipping haunts and disturbs me. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It's a fall song, but it's just the harmonies and the vocals and the echoey. It sounds gray. It sounds like shit's about to go down. It's going to get really cold, and it's like fall, and I hate it. And it's like I hate that song, but so there's that one.
Yeah.
But so you got the White Stripes, Leaves in the Dirty Ground. The Leaves. Another one that's kind of sad, Green Day, Wake Me Up When September Ends.
Did anybody wake up Green Day today?
Yeah. Green Day. So that one was written about the lead singer of Green Day, his dad passing away in September, and that one's a bummer. My Cocktail, the great PSL, Charlie Brown. You think about the great pumpkin Charlie Brown, you think about Vince Guaraldi and that great soundtrack for that movie. You think about the piano and the Linus and Lucy theme, and that makes you think of Halloween, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Vince Guaraldi association with the Charlie Brown cartoons.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's anything that can bring a tear to your eye and a smile to your face at the same time quicker than Vince Guaraldi.
Yeah.
Yeah. My whole childhood watching Charlie Brown, as a kid. Yeah. I've got to say, though, my favorite fall song has got to be Led Zeppelin, Ramble On. I mean, you look at the lyrics, the leaves are falling all around. Time was on my way. Thanks to you, I'm much obliged for for such a pleasant stay, but now it's time for me to go. The autumn moon lights my way.
Yeah.
That's a fall song, man.
That's a great fall song.
It's a great song.
Yeah, and I got Led Zeppelin 2 right there. So, yeah, no, it's I agree, and I think there's some Houses of the Holy to me has a fall feel to it with No Quarter and the Rain Song and Over the Hills and Far Away. To me, it just feels autumnal.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Drew, what else do you have, sir?
Yeah, I got two more. One of them is a new record to me, but it's kind of ushered in fall in our house. So it's the new Hozier record. It's called Unreal Unearthed. If you're not familiar with Hozier, great Irish singer-songwriter, incredible voice. Most people have probably heard Take Me to Church. That's kind of his big one that everybody knows. But this new record is absolutely fascinating. So for literature fans, the whole record is taking the listener through the 7 circles of hell in Dante's Inferno. Ooh. So with each progression of songs, it's usually 2, maybe 3 for each circle of hell. It progresses through, and it's just insanely brilliant. It's beautifully orchestrated. Brandy Carlisle was the executive producer. So for fans of Brandy Carlisle, it's really good. But I would recommend Francesca and Butchered Tongue as 2 songs that everybody should listen to on that. So big fan of that. And then the other one is Louis Armstrong, What a Wonderful World, 1968 record. I grew up listening to Louis Armstrong on a turntable at my grandparents' house, my mom's parents, and it was specifically a fall. There was Duke Ellington in there. There was Ella Fitzgerald in there, but specifically the What a Wonderful World record was a big part of, I remember literally decorating pumpkins and shelling pecans and all that kind of stuff around fall time at their house. So those 2 albums are others for me.
That's very cool. I like that a lot. Couple of other singles, Boys of Summer. That's
there you go.
It always irritates me when, and it's not so much anymore because, who listens to the real radio and deals with the DJ, but, back when we did listen to the radio in our cars, when DJs, it's the middle of June and they're playing Boys of Summer. No, this is not a summertime song. It's just not. You're doing it wrong.
Yep.
Whoever's programming your radio station is an idiot. Okay?
Post Labor Day cutoff.
Yes, I've got a Labor Day playlist, and Boys of Summer is on it.
There you go.
It's like you can't wear white after Labor Day, and you can't play Boys of Summer before Labor Day. That's the rule.
True that. Yep.
And then Summer's End by John Prine.
Oh, such a good tune.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I would have to add almost anything by the Cranberries. Her voice is just this kind of haunting feeling.
Think about Linger maybe.
Oh,
Linger by the Cranberries. And that kind of sounds that's like the warmth lingering and coming going away, and
I can take Dolores's voice in small packages, 2, 3, 4 songs. That's very different. That's really cool. And it's like, this is annoying the crap out of me. But set it aside for a few days and then come back to it. Oh, this is so cool.
It's a bit yodeling. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Tom Petty's Wildflowers album is one that I also listen to every October.
Yeah, I know that's a big one for you.
You got Adina's favorite artist right there. Tom Petty fan there, right?
Yeah. As we're recording this, which is October 1st, it will be 6 years that he's passed tomorrow.
Very
October
sad.
2nd. So, but yeah, I always listen to that one front to back every October 2nd now. So, but any others? Any other thoughts?
I'm sure there are. I'm just not thinking of them currently.
I went and looked at the Rush catalog. You know, me being a Rush fan, I know Kevin's a Rush fan. You know, there's no Rush autumnal, song really that. I can't
Time Stands Still has a bit of a autumn feel to it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I can go.
But
Red Barchetta, maybe.
Yes.
Rushing through in the Barchetta, rushing through the woods in the fall, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I picture that song in my head, it's driving through a windy country road, and the leaves are falling from the trees.
Yeah. That's the vision I have.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's rent one. Let's rent a Red Barchetta. Let's drive around. What do you say? That sounds like fun.
So
you'll be down here in a few days, so we can just go do that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Siamese Dream by the Smashing Pumpkins. That always feels like fall to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good record.
Yeah,
it's a really good record.
So me being a Chicago area really punk fan, I grew up in the punk era where there was a lot of industrial music going on in Chicago, punk, grungy, stuff in the 80s. Ministry, Every Day is Halloween.
Oh, okay.
And actually, every Ministry song kind of sounds like Halloween-y, kind of,
It's getting spooky. Yeah.
Spooky, kind of, yeah.
And that's one I've never heard of.
Yeah, well.
It's they've got a weird look. I'm not a
very
big,
goth, very very industrial music, so
yeah.
Halloween-y.
Yes, very much so. Every Picture Tells a Story by Rod Stewart. It's got Maggie May in it. It's late September. Really should be back at school. And I think a lot of the other songs on there kind of have that feel to it. Find a Reason to Believe is on there. Mandolin Wind. Any song that has a mandolin that makes it feel like fall.
That's a deal breaker.
Yeah. You're not a mandolin fan?
Yeah, I do.
No, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Any others? I think we've got a pretty solid list. So
yeah, I want this playlist for tomorrow's drive to work, Kevin.
There you go.
I think you need to do some work tonight.
Okay. Well, we will put together a playlist. That's for sure. But if you're watching the show, if you've got songs that feel like fall, put them in the comments, and you can whip up a cocktail or two from the award-winning Adina Ewaldz and listening to some fall music.
I want Drew's and Kevin's recipes.
We might have a text chain going. We can figure that out.
Okay.
It's very, very simple. So, all right. So we need to have you guys here live and in person and do some of this cocktail stuff and do a little drinking and talking and listening to music. And so.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Twist your arm, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So,
absolutely.
All right. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for being on the show. It is always a treat to get to talk with you, talk cocktails, and always learn something beyond learning that some people are really good at this and some of us are just kind of screwing around.
Sometimes you find the best cocktails messing around.
Yeah.
Honestly.
No, I mean that again. This is like if the guy singing at the lounge bar at the Holiday Inn is talking music with the Rolling Stones, okay? I mean, I'll just kind of mess around. Just, hey, what do I got? Let's just kind of pull some stuff together and see what happens. And yeah, which is fun. Yeah. And I if you're listening to this, do that. Just pick an ingredient and build around it. Or, hey, I really like this. I wouldn't do it with your most expensive whiskeys. But find a whiskey that you really like and figure out, okay, how do I build a cocktail around this? And it doesn't have to be anything real fancy. Just try it. See what you come up with.
I will tell you, when we were up north a couple weeks ago, I was like, I would really like a whiskey sour. And I looked around at what we'd brought with, and there was a peaty Scotch that I made a whiskey sour with, and we had a little bit of leftover red wine, which was a really nice Pinot. New York sour out of that. Oh my God, that was just.
Now you're talking my love language, Adina.
It was good.
New York sours. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That was just fabulous.
You can make do with what you have around.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So again, thank you very much for being on with us.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. And to make sure everybody understands how big of a deal this really is. Okay. This contest, there was an amateur division, and then there was like the best in show.
And there was a professional division.
There was pros.
Okay. And Adina didn't just win the amateurs. She didn't just beat the other people that are whipping up cocktails at their house. She beat the pros. Okay. She beat the people that are paid to do this, that this is their chosen profession. She stepped on their throat. Okay.
No.
That's whoa. She did, but
they were lovely people.
They were lovely people.
I'm sure they were. Lovely.
Put it this way: the crowd was digging Adina's cocktail a lot.
Yeah. Well, and for good reason. So again, follow Adina and Dave on Instagram. Get some really cool ideas, and you may not. I don't know how to bourbon infuse a donut. Okay, you don't have to do that, but there'll be other things that you'll see that they're doing that you'll be able to take an idea and say, I can do that.
Absolutely,
right.
I can do that, and just see what happens. It'll be fun
for sure.
So, Adina and Dave, tell everybody again where they can find you on social media.
To find me, I'm on Instagram at Adina Ewaldz, Adina, and then there's no space in the Instagram, but Adina Ewaldz with no space.
All right.
Then mine is Full Bean Group, no spaces, one word.
No spaces.
Yep. That's it.
Okay.
Website coming soon. I'm working on it.
That'll be so cool.
That'll be great.
Trying to get a website together so we can post stuff.
That's awesome. Drew, how about yourself?
Yep. I'm also on Instagram at drew.crawley63. The website is drewcrawleymusic.com. Both of those are great ways to find live dates and things of that nature. I have a new single coming out a week from the airing of this episode.
Awesome.
So it's called Palomino. You can stream it wherever you listen to music, and I'll be having some more announcements about that in the coming days. I would be honored if you'd listen.
Yeah, it's a very good song.
Thank
It's a very good song. I've been able to. I've been fortunate enough to hear it, and it's fantastic.
Thank you.
As for our show, you can watch us on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, you got to see firsthand Adina making a cocktail and her Kato putting ice in glasses. It was very inspiring. He did it with a plum.
Something, yeah.
But you can watch our show on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button while you're over there. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google. We have a Facebook page where we post all of our shows. We have a Facebook group where we'll post the things that we're listening to, the things that we're drinking. Maybe it's a cocktail. I think I actually did post this cocktail recipe on there a couple weeks ago. So nothing new and creative for me. Sorry. But it's fun to see what people post on there. And you may get some ideas about whiskeys or cocktails or brandies or who knows what, and get some ideas about music. So, and if you got some fall feel music that we left out, and I'm sure we left plenty out, leave a comment, and we'd love to hear from you. So until next time, on behalf of Drew, Dave, and Adina,
cheers.
Myself, thank you for watching. Cheers, love, and free bird.
Word.
Cheers.
Night, folks.
Good day.
Night.